Okay, this is Lester Bishop in Little Valley, New York. Almost 86 years old, a World War II vet. Anyway, it's been quite an interesting life in some respects. Born and raised in Little Valley, graduated from Little Valley Central School, went to work for Bell Aircraft Corporation in Buffalo in 1941. And worked here until I went in the service in August of 1943. Anyway, then I had to go to Westover Field, Massachusetts, near Springfield. And that was a gathering point for four-engine bomber crews, where you go as an individual. When you come out, you're a member of a 10-man crew for a four-engine bomber. A pilot, co-pilot, radio operator, engineer, navigator, bombardier, gunners. I was supposed to be a ball turret gunner. If you ever seen pictures of that little round ball hanging down from under a B-17 or a B-24, you wonder how you got in there with all the stuff that was in there. Sunday morning, it had to be at briefing at 6 o'clock. So nobody knew anything. Where we were going, nobody knew. And when you got to the briefing room, nobody on base knew where we were supposed to go or when. But after a while, we finally got the information. They made up a real doozy, and it was actually a ground support mission for the troops in the Falaise pocket. Now that Falaise, that little town I mentioned, was the northwestern end of kind of a valley of German troops, a lot of German armor, and they were practically surrounded by Allied troops. They got down close to Falaise, which is on the map. Lucky Jerry, an aircraft gunner, shot our port wing off. The 88 exploded just outside number 1 engine, and we only had a wing and a half left. Well, consequently, the B-24 doesn't fly very well on a wing and a half. I was, of course, on the waist because they had taken ball turrets out of the airplanes. They cut down on airspeed and increased gasoline consumption. And they wouldn't get too many fighter attacks, so they took the ball turrets right out. And actually, I was flying on the waist with Marty Lavender. Joe Lerusco, the tail gunner, was, of course, in behind us. And then the bomb bays were between us and the flight deck and the guys up in the nose. When they hit, they just blew half that wing right off. And 700 or 800 gallons of 100-octane gasoline in those tanks made a beautiful bonfire. You could have toasted marshmallows real quick. There's an escape hatch back in the waist of those airplanes. And you open that thing up, and then you snap on your parachute, and out you go, head first. The light went out. Marty Lavender went out right behind me. Joe Lerusco never got out. The airplane starts going down this way. And due to centrifugal force, you're trapped. You can't wiggle. And the hole's right there, but you can't get to it to go out. And the same thing happened to the pilot and the co-pilot and the engineer up on the flight deck. 6 of us out of 10 got out. Yeah, the navigator we had with us that day and I came down fairly close together. The 4 Jerrys were waiting for me when I came down and took me to a little French farmhouse. 15, 20 minutes later, some more Jerrys brought the navigator in. And his last name was Collins. And we were together that afternoon, evening, night, and the next day. And then we started walking. We walked finally about, I would guess, 25 miles in the next 3 days. At Christmas time, they had a Christmas party, and they practiced, the guys put it on. It was quite well presented. Invited the German commandant and a couple of German officers sat in the front row. And when we sung Silent Night, they sung right along with it in German. Actually, it's a German song. Oh, different things. I don't know, mostly just walking was one of the favorite things. Actually, this camp was made out kind of square, you might say. There's four of these. And this was A and B and C and D, yeah, and I was in C. It was, of course, barbed wire, posts about 10, 15 feet high, and with barbed wire all nailed on them, all just like a fence, like a farm fence. They were about 8 feet in between 2 of those rows. Inside was coiled barbed wire like this. Maybe you've seen pictures of that stuff. Inside of that, another 10 feet was what they called a warning wire. And that was just a single strand of barbed wire, a little post was so high, and the warning wire just this far above the ground. You did not go between the warning wire and the big fence over here. If you did, that guy up there was watching. And he had a machine gun up there. In fact, there were 2 of them in every guard tower. Sometime during that night, between April 30th and May 1st, the Germans all disappeared. When we woke up in the morning, they were gone. 2 or 3 of the American officers there knew about it. The commanding officer knew it, because the German commandant had told them just an hour or 2 ahead of time. The Jerry's were all gone. And the GI started tearing fences down and everything else going through the German buildings there. The Russians were somewhere pretty close. Yeah, the 1st of May was my birthday. I woke up 23 years old and I wasn't a POW anymore.